Stephen Ling has been handed a life sentence for the brutal murder of a man he found in his car. Ling, 38, attacked Mateusz Chojnowski following a night of drinking and taking cocaine on July 2 this year. Mr Chojnowski, 28, was found by the 38-year-old in his car and it was believed he was attempting to steal £1,000 that had been left there. In a prolonged and sustained assault that lasted an hour, Ling stamped on, kicked and punched Mr Chojnowski, who attempted to crawl away. Sheffield Crown Court heard that Ling had attempted to get rid of the shoes he had on after he had driven away from the scene. Mr Chojnowski was found severely injured by emergency services on South Parade in Doncaster on July 2. He was pronounced dead that day. A jury sitting on the trial found Ling guilty of murder last week. On Tuesday, the Honourable Mr Justice Lavender handed Ling a life sentence with a minimum term of 16 years. Once the 16 years has come to an end, Ling will have to go before the parole board, who will decide if he is safe to release. He will then be on license for the remainder of his life. Prosecutor Richard Thine told the court. This was a sustained assault. Most of the serious injuries were inflicted early on in the incident and Mr Chojnowski could be seen crawling and rolling on the grass. The prosecution submit the most serious mental impact was inflicted on him before his death. Mr Ling was under the influence of drink and drugs. He disposed of his shoes he used over the course of the attack. Mitigating, Nick Johnson told the court that much of the hour that Ling and Mr Chojnowski were in contact involved Ling searching for his license. Mr Johnson said. There was a short period where Mr Chojnowski was able to defend himself and they were engaged in a fight. He left his own bloody t-shirt at the scene and he handed himself into police and handed in his mobile phone. He may have been a man acting out of panic in the aftermath of what he had done. He has no similar previous convictions and was acting completely out of character. There are references from his partner, his colleagues and a report from the psychiatrist. The court was told that a reference submitted by Ling's partner described him as a wonderful father who has worked hard over the years. She said he had gone out of his way to help others in the community including homeless people. The woman pointed out that in the year or so before the murder of Mr Chojnowski, Ling had suffered a number of stresses, including the diagnosis of his son's Down syndrome and leukemia. The court heard his business had also failed due to COVID and the building of their family home also suffered due to planning that had been refused. Mr Johnson said. The last 2 years have been the most stressful of his life and he hasn't dealt with these in an appropriate way which has led to these circumstances. He has 4 children under 10 and this has affected them. That has been very significant in terms of schooling. The 2 oldest will now need counseling, such has been the impact on their behavior. The judge told the court Ling had broken 13 of Mr Chojnowski's ribs and caused damage to his internal organs during the attack. He said. You were drinking with friends and taking cocaine and found him in your car. He had unsuccessfully tried to start your car and you believed he stole £1,000 you had left there. You were justified in your belief but not justified in what you did next. You have brought grief and misery to his loved ones. I will sentence you on the basis that he had used some violence towards you at the start but that was far outweighed by your assault on him. You handed yourself into police and pleaded guilty to manslaughter and your letter to me reflects how you feel about what you did that night. Ling will have to serve 16 years minus the 169 days he has spent on remand in custody before going before the parole board who will decide if he is safe to release. He will spend the rest of his life on license. Our sincere condolences and heartfelt sympathies go out to the family and loved ones of Mateusz Chojnowski.